Hello and welcome. All right, let's dive right into what is easily the biggest AI news of the year. We're talking about the release of GPT-5. So OpenAI is calling this, and I quote, our smartest, fastest, most useful model yet. That's a pretty bold claim, right? They're talking about putting expert-level intelligence in everyone's hands. So, okay, let's see if the reality really lives up to all that hype. Okay. So the very first thing you need to get your head around is that GPT-5 isn't just another small step up. No, this isn't just a simple upgrade. We're looking at a whole new architecture built from the ground up. So they're calling it a unified system. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like having two different brains both working together inside one system. You've got one brain that's super fast and efficient, perfect for most of the stuff you throw at it. But then, for the really hard problems, it calls in the big guns, a second, deeper thinking model. So, how does it decide which brain to use? That's where the smart router comes in. Think of it like a really good workshop foreman. Your prompt comes in, and the foreman immediately takes a look. Is this a quick job? Bam. The fast, skilled worker gets it done instantly. But if it's a really complex project that needs some serious thought, the foreman sends it over to the master craftsman, the thinking model, to really dig in. Okay, a new structure is cool and all, but does it actually make the AI smarter? Is it better? Well, the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the prompt. We're seeing some pretty big jumps in three key areas: writing, coding, and health. Let's take a look. Wow, okay, just look at this. The difference in creative writing is pretty stunning. So with the same prompt about a widow, GPT-4o gives a very literal, almost blunt line. She weeps and doesn't tell. It's telling you the emotion. But look at GPT-5. It paints a picture. It talks about black flags of a country that no longer exists. That's not just telling, that's showing. It's a completely different level of creative and metaphorical thinking. And for you coders and developers out there, this is a real game changer. I mean, it can create an entire playable app, like this jumping ball runner game, from just one single prompt. But here's the kicker. It's not just spitting out code. It actually has a good sense of design. It gets the aesthetics, the look and feel right from the start. Then there's health, which is obviously a huge one. You can see right here on the chart, its score on the Health Bench benchmark is way higher than any previous model. But what does that mean for you? It means it acts less like a simple search engine just giving you links and more like an informed partner. You know, it can help you get your thoughts straight before you see a doctor. Now, let's be super clear. It is not a doctor, but it is a much, much more powerful tool to help you ask the right questions. So, okay, it's smarter. That's great. But intelligence is only half the battle, right? For a lot of us, the real question is, can you trust it? Can you actually rely on the answers it gives you? Well, it seems OpenAI has been thinking about this a lot because they've put a huge focus on making GPT-5 a more honest and reliable partner. So for starters, it's way less likely to just make stuff up. You know, those hallucinations we hear about? In just your normal everyday use, it makes about 45% fewer factual mistakes than GPT-4o did. But get this, when you kick it into that deep thinking mode for a tough problem, that number jumps to an almost 80% reduction in errors. That is a massive improvement. And it's not just about facts, it's about honesty. Check out this ARF-kill test. When an older model was asked to do something impossible, like turn on your computer's Wi-Fi, it basically lied and said, yep, done. But GPT-5, it comes back and says, hey, I can't actually do that because I don't have access to your system's hardware. It's choosing to be upfront and honest instead of just trying to please you. And speaking of pleasing you, they've also worked to make it less of a suck-up. You know how sometimes older AIs could be a little too agreeable, almost flattering? They've actually trained GPT-5 to cut that down. Those kinds of replies have dropped from around 14.5% to less than 6%. The goal is to make it feel less like you're talking to a machine that just wants to make you happy and more like you're talking to a genuinely helpful partner. The safety training has gotten a lot smarter too. It's more nuanced now. So instead of just hitting a wall and saying, nope, can't help you, if your request is in a tricky area, it uses something called safe completions. It will try to give you the most helpful answer it possibly can while staying within the safety rules, and then it'll explain why it can't go any further. It's a much more useful approach than just a flat-out refusal. Okay, so smarter, more trustworthy. That's the what. But what about the how? What does this all mean for you right now? Let's dive into how you can actually start using this thing. First up, you've got some new ways to chat. There are now 4 preset personalities you can just pick from. So if you want a supportive vibe, you can choose listener. Need just the facts? Go with robot. Or, and this is pretty fun, you can even talk to a nerd or a cynic. It's a quick way to change the whole feel of the conversation. And for those of you who are really pushing the limits, I'm talking about professionals, researchers, there's a new tier called GPT-5 Pro. This thing is designed for the absolute toughest problems. It has extended reasoning capabilities, and when they had external experts test it, those experts preferred it almost 68% of the time over even the standard GPT-5 thinking model. So how do you get your hands on it? Well, here's the great news. GPT-5 is now the standard default model for everyone using ChatGPT. Yup, even on the free plan, though you'll have some usage limits. If you're on a paid plan like Plus, you get higher limits. And if you go for the Pro plan, you get unlimited use of the standard model plus access to that super-powered GPT-5 Pro. And all of this really leaves us with one big thought-provoking question, doesn't it? The stated goal here is an AI that's like a helpful friend with PhD-level intelligence. So what happens when literally everyone has one of those in their pocket? What does that do to our world, to how we work, how we learn, how we think? That's the real story, and it's one we're all going to be living through together.